Episodes of Bob's Burgers played in the background on repeat while my brother and I chowed down on Chipotle and talked about life. After hours had passed, I glanced out the window of the U of A dorm. The sun was beginning to set, and soon enough it would be dark. In a rush, I gathered all my things, gave my brother a hug, and walked out of his dorm room, hoping to get a tad bit of dim lighting on the walk back to my car. Unfortunately, I had parked about a mile away in a random Taco Bell parking lot. Being the concerned brother he was, Patrick offered to walk me to my car, so he knew I had gotten there safely. Being modest, I declined the offer with immediate regret as soon as I heard the door shut. I shook off my fear and told myself I would be fine and that I needed the exercise after that extremely fattening Chipotle. The walk to the dorm seemed much easier than the walk back, mainly because it had been light out and I could rely on the looks of buildings to guide me to the dorms. Now it was officially dark with the dingy lighting of the orange street lamps, and I was left to depend on my less than mediocre knowledge of street signs to get me to my damn car. And by mediocre knowledge, I mean absolutely zero knowledge. The only way I figured I could get myself to that stupid Taco Bell parking lot was through the neighborhood on the right of the dorms. I started my walk down Euclid, where the street was deader than a cemetery and insanely creepy. It was silent with the exception of the squeak of my heels rubbing against my new Converse and my heavy breathing having walked 1/10 of a mile with a stuffy nose. I took a left on Cherry Avenue, second-guessing myself the second I turned. It was a disaster after that, and what normally would take an 8-minute walk turned into 20 minutes of aimlessly strolling and taking turns I was very unsure of, hoping that maybe the Taco Bell would just appear by the grace of God. I was on a street I had never heard of nor seen before, when I got the most uncomfortable feeling that I was being followed. I spent a few minutes internally debating whether or not I should turn around to see if someone was there. If I turn and there is someone, the logical thing I could think to do is run. But where? I didn't even know what street I was on, let alone how the hell I was going to get back to this freaking Taco Bell. I decided to forget about it, not turn around, and think stress-free. Then the situation turned not so stress-free. The feeling of being followed was engulfing my every thought. I had to look. A silhouette of a man was trailing behind me at a far distance. Maybe he was trying to find the Taco Bell too, I thought to myself, trying to ease the anxiety that took over my entire body. I pulled my phone out in hopes that if he saw I had it on me, he wouldn't think to attack me. I tried to keep my head forward, to be low-key, but in this attempt, I had already looked back 6 times in the past 2 minutes. So much for being low-key. I've never been followed before. I had no idea what the protocol was, if there even was such a thing. I told myself, if he's still behind you after 5 rights, I'm calling the cops. I was on my second right when I tried to nonchalantly glance back. He was gaining ground, and I was gaining fear. I picked up the pace and prayed that after my next right, he would no longer be behind me. Yet after my third right, he was there, gaining more and more ground. I threw the 5 turns idea out the window and called my brother. He said to run, but not to be obvious. Great advice. My next turn, I booked it down the neighborhood, and the next thing I knew, I was at an intersection. The Taco Bell was finally in view. I pressed the button to cross the street, relieved I had finally escaped the creepy man. Just out of curiosity, I turned around to see if he was anywhere in sight. My heart leaped out of my chest when my eyes met with the older man standing before me. It was him. He was rummaging through his pocket for something. A gun, I thought? Was he really going to pull a gun out in front of all these people? I looked around, hoping to see someone that could potentially be a witness to my murder, when I felt a light tap on my shoulder. The old man was waving a $20 bill with the biggest smile. You dropped this a while back, and I didn't want you to lose it. His raspy voice was so innocent and not what I had imagined for the past 30 minutes it took me to find this Taco Bell. I thanked him, and he nodded, turned around, and headed back the way he came. And I thought he was going to kill me.